What's up, YouTube? MK40 here, back with my bowl haircut. Fucking phenomenal. Went to the local Great Clips and said, give me the bowl job. Yep, very unfunny and unenthusiastic. I'm sorry. Should be asleep right now. But I wanted to talk about something that is a little bit ridiculous to me, and that's Imperial Order. But first, side note here. I learned 3 things this weekend. One of those points is Imperial Order is fucking broken as fuck. Alright? Number 2, why is there always a cheerleader convention in the Midwest for a Yu-Gi-Oh event? Never really understood that. It's like the people that book these events are in cahoots with the cheerleading convention. And lumping into that same thought, why is it that the whole crew thinks that they're going to go down there and find a hot MILF? I understand, but like, do we really understand? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not dissing on it. I was there. Yeah, it was one of those things, past the time. It was a good day. And number 3, why the fuck was that $12 pork barbecue some hot fucking fire? That's besides the point. Remember, kids, if you're at a Yu-Gi-Oh event and it's like round 6 and you have like 20 minutes and you don't want Subway, there's always that expensive ass pork barbecue that's $12 that you actually get fries with. Lucky me. So, back onto the topic of Imperial Order. Why the fuck is this card legal? Like, also to the one guy that always wants a picture on the video, here you go. Here's a picture of Imperial Order just for you. We did it, fam. We'll edit one video every once in 100 years of a card we're actually discussing. Here you go. I wish I would have picked the Japanese version. So, playing this weekend at the regional, kind of walking around doing my thing. You know, when you're 400 pounds, you know, people kind of respect your authority. Or, you know, every time you walk, you're like, beep, 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 beep. I saw a lot of Imperial Order moments. And I think Imperial Order is going to go down as this format's Snatch still. This format's Vanity's Emptiness. You know, like, we know it's coming. And we're only a week into the format. Someone's going to literally comment on this video and go, why the fuck are you complaining about Imperial Order already? It's only a week into the format. Please be respectable and give cards the appropriate time to respond. Thank you. Fucking chain jokes in fucking 2017. Fucking Yu-Gi-Oh. No. If you've been playtesting this format, you know that 2 things happen with Imperial Order. The game state will, you'll negate something very powerful with Imperial Order. You don't have to so much worry about shutting it off yourself. Fairy Tale Snow will take care of that for you if you're playing it in 60 card noids. It's actually a really cool interaction, but like, it doesn't really happen. And then you can be like the other guy and have Imperial Order essentially kill you. And then there's like the third thing where, like, if you're at 700 life points, you have enough to pay for Imperial Order. Imperial Order will kill you. It's not an optional pay. I think Imperial Order is one of these cards that's going to go down as necessarily a last-ditch effort. Last-ditch. Unless your opponent has the answer for it, if you can play the game better than your opponent can play the already shitty game state that you've created, because, you know, you're playing one of the best cards that Konami could have given you back in this format, what do you really expect? Fundamentally, going into this format, as long as your deck can function under Imperial Order, you'll be alright. Yes, I know Imperial Order is a one-of, and I'm going to prematurely make the point of, wow, my opponent always has the Imperial Order. Or better yet, my opponent always has the Max C. I was actually very shocked comparing Imperial Order to Max C for week 1 here, coming out of the Columbus Regional. I heard more people say that they didn't see Max C than Imperial Order, which is mind-blowing to me because my opponent always has the Emptiness. You know, rolling around for the next 6 to 8 months, however long we have this insanely long ban list, we are going to be putting up with Imperial Order. And it's very important to understand that this card does exist in the game. I am, with Ghost Dash rolling around the corner, having 4 potential I guess, power outs, quote unquote, to that grass looks greener. Just the existence of this card is going to naturally check a lot of things. And will it see a lot of play in the main deck? Maybe. I can't predict that far ahead. If I had a fucking magical lamp sitting around here that would tell me the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'd have my fucking invite for the 10th year in a row. But I ain't got that shit. We're struggling like the best right now. Even though we get the chance to play every week and we have access to everything, I still suck. It's the moral standing. Hell, even having Imperial Order at 1 isn't helping the situation. Like, I don't know. Imperial Order, like those can you feel it memes? Yeah, I can feel that Imperial Order is going to get rebanned. No, the TCG already complained about having anti-spell running around, and now we have 4 of them. Granted, Imperial Order, on the flip side of the equation, you have to pay during every standby phase. You're paying $1,400 to keep this thing essentially active. And yeah, granted, you can't turn it off, blah 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 blah. If your opponent chooses to not respond and you've chosen to play Imperial Order on the grounds of you not having an out to stop a resource, unless you can effectively take advantage of having Imperial Order on the board, this card will subtly kill you. And I think that's a very... it's interesting. That's going to be the best way that I can say that. It's a risk versus reward type of scenario. Now, granted, Solemn Judgment is pay half of your life. Obviously, the card gets technically better the later the game goes. Imperial Order is one of those cards that if you shotgun it too early, then you'll be punished. But if you're using it to stop a combo card like that Grass Looks Greener, to effectively not let your opponent engage in, going dredge mode and just killing you from the graveyard, and if you don't have a follow-up play for that, then Imperial Order, like, what was the point of even doing it? At least you could have played spells. It's all kind of interesting, and I don't want to say much more on it because there's not much more to really say. It's a card that is the new modern day Solemn Judgment. The card has taken the place of Emptiness, literally in terms of the sack factor that it gives. And it's a one-of, and it's a purple card, alright? We've learned that purple cards aren't so good unless they're named D-Barrier or Solemn Strike lately. And a lot of people aren't even playing Solemn Strike anymore. But now you have a near staple card for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to opt not to play this because it directly interferes with their deck. I get that, sure. Other people are going to go against the flow and play it in their deck. I had a friend whose entire logic for playing this card was because of Fairy Tale Snow, which we mentioned earlier in this video. Snow gives you an interaction window that if you're playing the 60 card mirror match, you can negate your opponent's combo cards. Also remember, kids, Void Imagination just happens. It's amazing. Don't you guys love Void Imagination? I do. Anyway, if Imperial Order's on the field, it is a snow target. You will have the inherent advantage. Turn it off in the mirror match. And I think in that scenario, if that window happens, then I think I would consider Imperial Order definitely something to be a little bit more of a force to be reckoned with. The moral of the story, though, guys, Imperial Order is a card that should not exist in today's format. If you're looking back at Emptiness and you realize that Emptiness was a card that would essentially steal games as a one-of, a card that you really shouldn't have to play around because it's a one-of. But now, in addition to having to play around Imperial Order, you have to worry about Maxi as well. Granted, they don't have to do the same thing. But on the grand scale of things, if you're attempting to play the game and your opponent has the one of Imperial Order, you're going to be in a fantastic shitty situation because it actually resolves against you. And don't even get me started on the fact that fucking Paleo can play this shit. watching a Paleo player flip up an Imperial Order with just Paleos in the graveyard, it's just additional salt on the table. You know, I think the amount of bullshit that would already come from this, like 60 card Paleo, for example, watching a 60 card Paleo player play this, mill fucking everything, and then proceed over to the next turn. So they mill 20 fucking cards. Probably going to be an absolute blackjack in there because they always fucking mill that good card. If your opponent goes, alright, well, I'm going to attempt to play the game, you're like, psych, Imperial Order, chain my Paleozoic, bring it back. Now your opponent has to deal with an Imperial Order, which is already ridiculous. And there's probably going to be a constant flow of Paleozoics that are going to be rolling out here. Granted, there are 1,200 bodies that are immune to monster effects, but if there's a totally awesome being established on the board, you're in for a very rough time in terms of the potential boss monster abuse that's coming. I definitely don't like a card that inherently becomes better. Granted, you could say the same thing about Emptiness and Key Beetle. It's just one scenario, but these are just things to consider. It's what happens when we have very powerful cards that exist in this game. But what do you guys think about Imperial Order? Do you think it's broken? You guys think the card should be legal at the moment? I'm indifferent about it at the moment. It's one of those cards that at the end of the day, I don't think it should be around, but I get why it's here at the moment. I get why it's balanced, but nah, there's just some other things that should exist right now to balance it. Like, why is Feather Duster not legal? I mean, at least I'd have a main deck out for it. Unlike, what, the 110 games that I have the Order and you have the Feather Duster. It's just what it is. Alright guys, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'm out. That's not all, folks. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Please check out my Cardfight Vanguard channel, VanCole40. You guys will get an insight on our playtesting sessions. And please check out the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. That way you guys can follow the House of Champions and MCole40 interactions. Please check out MCole Games for all of your guys' trading card game needs. And if you guys enjoyed this content, please check out my Patreon in the description. Every bit helps to the creation of these videos. One step at a time in improvement, and that's the goal of this channel. Alright guys, have a good time, and thanks for watching.